In this Star Wars Battlefront 2 news update video, I will be sharing with you why Battlefront 3 is far, far away, and we have realistic timelines from a former developer who worked on Battlefront 2. Plus, he has revealed why crossplay and mod support is not possible for Battlefront 2. On top of that, we have even more developer insights into various parts of Battlefront 2's development. Before we do dive into all of today's news though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on Star Wars Battlefront and future Battlefront 2 videos. Firstly, I want to share some inside knowledge from a former developer in relation to one of Battlefront 2's biggest controversies, and that was Droidica Gate. If you are new to Battlefront 2 and its community, you might not have heard of Droidica Gate or Crashed Speeder Gate. Basically, back in August 2018 when DICE were releasing a brand new update to Battlefront 2 with 2 new clone legions, in the screenshot they used for the update, you could see a Droidica in the background, and Droidicas at this time were not confirmed to be coming to the game. So the community took this as a tease from DICE that Droidicas would be coming to the game in the future. They didn't arrive until later on in 2019. However, it was a complete accident. Droidicas were not in development at this moment in time. DICE said that this Droidica was a crash speeder or environmental clutter, which made a lot of people upset in the community, because as you can see, it was indeed a Droidica, and Ben, the former community manager for the game, took to Reddit a couple of days ago to say, genuinely, Droidicas were not planned at that moment in time. Someone responded by saying, well, how is a one-to-one perfect replica of a Battlefront 2 Droidica model there? Ben said it was an old model from previous exploration, which was shelved due to animation concerns, but then the animation team managed to do their thing. Game development is a lot of quick iteration using various levels of 3D assets. So that's a good insight into how things like Battlefront 2 are made. And whilst this is not completely new information, I made a video on this several years ago when we did find out this from the team, most people are totally unaware that this is what actually happened. So those were comments from Ben under a really popular Reddit post over the past few days, and there was another really popular Reddit post that went out a few days ago, and it was complaining that BB-8 and BB-9A were heroes. Apparently it was one of the worst decisions ever for the game, and honestly, that is just nonsense. BB-8 especially is a phenomenally fun hero. He is so unique and just great to use. People were just mad and upset that they didn't get Ahsoka and Ventress, which were being worked on to come out afterwards. You have to remember, Ahsoka and Ventress have no right to be in a Rise of Skywalker update, whereas BB-8 and BB-9E do, given that they are from the sequel trilogy. As I've gone through extensively in previous videos, Poe and Hux were supposed to be the heroes for the Rise of Skywalker update. Music were made for them and details were shared. You can check those videos out for more information, but essentially Poe was going to have BB-8 by his side, but Oscar Isaac did not get in touch with DICE. He just had a kid at the time, so they were running out of time to get the sign-off to do his voice, and they decided, we can't do Poe and Hux, let's just do BB-8 and BB-9E. When being called out for being lazy developers, Matt, who was a former producer on Battlefront 2, said, lazy? Well, I do like to sleep in when possible. But limited time, limited resources, and conflicts with some rights of refusal and contractual obligations were why BB-8 and BB-9E came. As I mentioned, Oscar just did not respond to DICE. That's why, even though he actually wanted to be in Battlefront 2. BB-8 was already half made at this time, so getting this done allowed for more work on other things, so more content that we got later on down in early 2020. Probably may not have got some things in early 2020 if BB-8 wasn't already half made from Poe being made. Matt said, we wanted Poe, but as above, time pressure made it not possible with the deadline of that sort of December release timeframe. I really want to hammer home just how much the developers at DICE made things work. It was either no heroes, or some of the most unique, fun, and phenomenal gameplay in Battlefront 2. So yeah, what would you choose? Nothing, or actually great, fun characters to play as? I've said this before, but some of the key developers on Battlefront 2 were huge Ahsoka fans. All of them loved the Clone Wars. They were just the biggest Clone Wars fans I've ever met. They love that stuff. So for people to say they didn't care, that is very far from the truth. Guillaume, who worked as the hero designer on Battlefront 2015 and Battlefront 2, one of his favourite characters is Ahsoka. Of course he would have wanted Ahsoka in the game. It just was not possible because of time. We already know that they were working on them. It just was not possible. Same for Geonosian Hunt, an iteration of Ewok Hunt. Many fans have asked for it, and DICE were well aware they wanted to do it. Matt said that we thought about zombie Geonosians as well for a hunt mode, but we just did not have a good model for the zombies and did ponder the idea, but just not enough resources to pull it off in time. Let's now talk about the elephant in the room, Battlefront 3, because as I've been saying, based on what I've learned from Battlefront 2 developers in the past and things like that, we would be looking at least a 3 to 5 year development cycle for Battlefront 3 if they were to begin today. And Matt's actually gave us some really insightful information as to how long it would actually take for Battlefront 3 to actually start production and release. He said everyone's timescale is off. If someone said let's make Battlefront 3 at Disney today, they would start courting studios who could do it, asking for pitches. This is a 4 to 6 month long process. Once agreed with the studio, contract discussions start. And that's a 2 month sort of process at minimum. So if Battlefront 3 was started today, it wouldn't even be until sort of next year where pre-production actually really starts. In terms of how long pre-production would actually take, Matt says that would be another 6 months, so we're already well into 2026, and he said that hitting production and getting to alpha is at least another 9 to 12 months in terms of the timeline. Only at that point is a publisher willing to announce a game. At alpha, it's really the first time you know if a game will work or not. So, if we started Battlefront 3 today, you would hear the announced game in something 2027, potentially. That's a whole 2 years away, and then the game wouldn't release in 2 years. It would probably come out at the end of 2028 or something along those lines. And that's assuming that everything goes to plan and has no problems and just happens all great and there is no delay whatsoever. And we all know game development does not work very smoothly. Let's now talk about some comments from Matt in relation to crossplay and modding, because again there was a really popular Reddit post talking about how EA should just allow crossplay and mod support in Battlefront 2 right now, and then we won't need a Battlefront 3, and Matt said that mods on Frostbite is quite difficult, so not possible without an engine upgrade, which would take a very, very long time to do, and so much money, which is just not going to happen in a game that has no updates and no dev team behind it. Meanwhile, crossplay would take around 6-ish months to do. DICE would need to do a UI redesign, 2 to 3 coders with network experience. There would also have to be a patch where old play data is merged with the new system. People would need to choose what data to store if they played on multiple platforms, for example, PC and PlayStation or Xbox. It would need 2 to 3 months of post-release work to fix all of the problems discovered once the migration was done. So you're looking at around 9 months to a year to implement crossplay. He even goes on to say, I did the math on crossplay before development was shut down on Battlefront 2. I don't see any change in the tech that would reduce this cost. People also totally forget that Battlefront 2 was made on an engine from like 2014, using technology from 2015, 2016. Yes, it released in 2017, but sort of all of that technology is locked in years prior, because they started work on the game in like 2015. Back when Battlefront 2 came out in 2017, crossplay was not the norm, it was a pipe dream. There was effectively only Rocket League that attempted it, and then Sony blocked them from doing it. That stifled industry innovation for so long. The fact that Sony even wanted to do that, even went ahead and did that, is ridiculous. If that didn't happen, we may have maybe seen it in Battlefront 2. But again, Battlefront 2 was developed well before crossplay was even a thing in most cases. Almost no game had it. It wasn't until later in 2018 when Fortnite popularised that, when Sony eventually gave into our demands and actually allowed us to play with people on other platforms. But again, that was back when Battlefront 2 was not doing so good, and it wasn't even that popular back then either. It was only a few games. It wasn't until sort of late 2019, 2020 where it really took off. Games were being developed with crossplay built in, not on the foundations of an engine from several years prior without crossplay support. There is also some pushback from the community that would not want crossplay whatsoever due to the hacking on PC, and that's totally understandable. Matt said that his thinking is that if a PC player is in the mix, everyone plays on PC servers, don't drag PC players into console servers, but the other way is fine. The reason being, crossplay is about getting friends to play together and not filling servers, so people that have friends who play on PC should be able to play with them, even if they play on Xbox or PlayStation. Just don't push singular players on PC that are wanting to hack onto console servers, and that makes sense. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, there will be hackers and such, but That's how it should be handled. I hope you found this video very insightful, with all of the developers sharing some really great knowledge on development of Battlefront 2 and a potential Battlefront 3. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything, so please do let me know down in the comment section below. And remember to drop a like to help support the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss any future Star Wars Battlefront 2 news updates and videos. And if you did miss any of my previous videos, please do click on the playlist on screen right now. And I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.